try to do just the opposite.
High fly ball, deep left field. Oh, 27 does it again.
Gone. Fernando Tatis Jr. with a two-run shot has the Padres on the board. Ball and 2 strikes to Shohei here. Oh, got it! Got it! 33!
Oh, wow. Where did that one go? That's his 11th home run.
Driven out to deep center field. Going back, Springer turning, looking, see ya! Oh, what a shot by Judge! The Yankees lead 1-0.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a late night edition version of Free Baseball. It's episode number 31. Got a lot to talk about. Playoffs, last few games of the season. My name is Davis Bird, as always, joined by the main man of the hour, always, Jake Crumpler. A lot to talk about. I mean, pretty simple stuff. Apart from the playoffs, Aaron Judge broke an AL home run record. Mariners win a playoff series, make the playoffs. Yeah.
Sounds so excited about Judge hitting 62.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to trash it really bad. So, I mean, Aaron Judge obviously broke the AL home run record. We talked about it last pod. I don't remember if he broke it that day or
he had not. He broke it 2 days later.
Yeah, I was going to say. I didn't think so. I remember we talked about Roger Maris Jr. being kind of a chud.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
Yeah.
Human.
That was cool. But, congratulations to Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
Broke the AL home run record. Still just, what was that? 11 off of Barry Bonds?
Yeah.
Boom.
He's got a long way to go.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add on Aaron Judge? I feel like everyone else has kind of covered this, and it's like we're a little late on it. So, I mean, it is what it is with Aaron Judge. He broke the home run record. Like, he's probably, I don't even know if there's a probably, he's almost guaranteed to win MVP in my book.
Yeah, but he shouldn't. Should be Shohei still.
Yeah, I think
it was still a cool feat. It was something fun to follow the whole season. I mean, I feel like people forget how cool it was when Giancarlo was going towards 60 in 2017. I really wanted him to make it there, and he ultimately did not. So definitely cool to have somebody at least hit 60 in, the time that I remember, because Bonds hit 73 when I was like 4 years old. So I don't really remember that too well or at all, actually. But great season from Judge. I think what's more impressive than the 62 home runs is honestly just the rest of his line. Like 62 home runs is dope, but I don't know. You sort of expect somebody to do that and then like take things off in other facets of his game, but he batted .311 and had like 130 runs and RBIs both sides, and he stole 16 bases, which was almost double what he's ever done in any other season. So he just had an all-around season. It was really cool, but Shohei deserves MVP every single year. He was better than he was last year when he was unanimous, but I think the voters somehow will already have fatigue after 1 year, and they're probably going to vote Judge in just because he hit 62 home runs. But, I think both of them are worthy MVP guys. But, I mean, that's a discussion that basically every podcast has been having for the last who knows how long, and will probably have through the whole postseason.
Yeah. How much did Arias beat him for average for the Triple Crown?
I think Arias at like 316.
That sounds right. They beat him by 5 points. Dang it, Luis.
Yeah, 316.
Next thing to talk about, a really cool moment. I'm going to let you talk about this, seeing as you're the Bay Area guy.
I am. It was pretty sick. It was Stephen Vogt had announced his retirement prior to the final game of the season, during which he started. I'm pretty sure he batted leadoff as well. There were a couple cool things that happened. I think one thing of note is that he was doing like bullpens before the game and stuff. Like, this is a guy who's played for like the last decade or so, and he's still warming up pitchers before the game, which is like a testament to what kind of player he was, which is what you want to see. It's basically the exact opposite of what Aroldis Chapman is, not showing up to the workouts and stuff. Yeah. So get my quick shot in there. Other than that,
absolutely.
have to get a shot in. Yeah. Other than that, he also was announced by his kids who, did the and now batting number, whatever number he is, Stephen Vogt. That was pretty cool as well. Also somewhat cute because he has little kids. And then the guy in his second at bat of the game hit a dinger in his final career game, which was crazy. Storybook ending for one of the greatest players of all time. But no, Vogt's always been a really lovable player, especially one of the most beloved players in Oakland over the past 5 years or so. And he never really had any crazy seasons. It looks like his best season in terms of WRC plus was 2015 when he hit 18 dingers and batted 261, but he's a catcher, he had 1.8 WAR that year. So, the fact that his best season is 1.8 WAR sort of tells you what kind of sort of one of those cult favorites, Kosuke Fukudome, random guys that players love, fans love. But yeah, everyone loves Stephen Vogt, and it's too sad to see him go. But yeah, he had a great 10-year career.
Absolutely. So congratulations to Stephen Vogt on your retirement. It's always a cool moment. He deserves this moment, and I think that's really good. It's always good to see players that are retiring that are good human beings get their moment in the sun on their last game. That's just always nice to see. On the Aroldis Chapman note, the report was that he wanted a guarantee that if he showed up at this workout, he was going to be on the playoff roster, and the Yankees were like, I'm not guaranteeing you that. You're garbage. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to stay home.
The funniest part about that, though, is I saw a meme on Twitter where somebody was saying the Yankees asked him well, what have you done in the postseason for us recently? And then it was just a ... And then they were like, yeah, it's probably best if you just stay home, because everyone knows he gave up a couple big home runs in the postseason in the past. The most memorable one being to Jose Altuve. But yeah, he's a guy who gets destroyed in the postseason. He's a terrible person off the field, and now he's just showing the character of his player. So yeah, couldn't have happened to a better person, like we like to say.
Yeah, I hate to see it, hate to see it for Aroldis Chapman, known good guy across the league. He's been just miserable this year too, in big spots as well. Even though the ERA and the FIP don't look too bad, he's just it's very clear he's in decline. And on that note, Yankee career over, probably not baseball career over. He'll probably end up on the Royals or something.
Astros, they love guys like that.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, moving on. Some non-MLB news. Yeah, we don't do that very much, but this one was just too cool to not talk about. And it's Munetaka, Murakami in the NPB, actually breaking the NPB home run record, just like Aaron Judge, which is really cool. And it was previously held. Do you know who?
Sadaharu O, the GOAT.
Yeah, Sadaharu O, the GOAT. If you don't know, guys, Sadaharu O, I think he's the all-time professional baseball, if you don't count Josh Gibson, because I think Josh Gibson was reportedly ahead of that. He had 868 dingers, so he's the home run king of home run kings.
And he played a while ago. Not as old as Babe Ruth, but he's basically Japanese Babe Ruth.
Pretty much. But yeah, some crazy stats for Murakami this year. He so like Judge, he paced the league in home runs. He also finished first in average, first in on base, slug, OPS, ISO, WOBA, WRAA, WPA, most walks, most home runs, obviously, most intentional walks, most total bases, most runs, most RBIs. He had a 223 WRC plus, and he was worth 10.5, almost 10.5 or 10.4. Really, really dumb line for Murakami. I believe he's a first baseman. And it's actually dope because he's playing for the Yakult Swallows, who have kind of been bad in the last few years. And he's he was basically the leader of their renaissance. I think they ended up winning. the whatever league they're in, and they're in the same division. I want to say with the Giants, the Tokyo Giants or whatever, who are basically like the Yankee equivalent.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
So
I feel like the most notable thing about him, though, is his age. He's freaking 22 years old.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's been in the league since he was 18. He's already up to 177 dingers. I did the math. If he had played 162 games, I think they play like 145 there or something. I don't know. He played only 141 games this year, but he would be on pace for 64 in a 162 game season. So move over, Aaron Judge. This is the real AL home run king. But other than that, he also won the Triple Crown, which he is the first offensive Triple Crown in MPB since Nobuhiko Matsunaka in 2004, and the first by a CL player. I think that's like ALNL. I don't know the league. I don't know enough about NPB, but first CL player to win the Triple Crown since Randy Bass in 1986, and only 6 players, including only 6 players before him have ever had a Triple Crown, and one of those was Sadaharu Oh. So pretty impressive season. 56 home runs. That's pretty major, and I'm excited to see when he gets over here. Probably won't be for another 3 years, probably not until he's 25, but he's going to be an exciting player, hopefully.
Yeah, he actually did not break like the single season record in general for that league, but he broke the single season record by a Japanese player, which is cool.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who
had the most?
The most all time is by Vladimir Valentin.
Okay, yeah.
He had 60.
Damn. That's crazy.
Also did that playing for the Tokyo Yakult Swallows. So Tokyo Yakult Swallows have the most home runs by a player and the most home runs by a Japanese-born player. So that's a cool little fun fact for you.
That's sick.
Yeah, just wild. So congratulations, Munetaka. Can't wait for you to be a Chicago Cub in several years. So moving on, I think we ought to talk about the playoffs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Do you want to start? Because I am absolutely thrilled to talk about the wild card series.
Yeah, I wish I had gotten to watch more than I did. I had a pretty busy weekend, and of course, they just chose let's have all 3 games across the weekend. They also had them at weird times. Friday, I'm at work, and it's like, wait, there's a game at 9 a.m. So I just I'm one of those guys with his phone set up while he's like typing away. It was pretty cool. But, I mean, the teams that I think we are both rooting for moved on, which maybe not for one of them. I think I would have liked to see the Mets move on, but we can take it series by series. So we can start with Guardians Rays. I've sort of claimed my stake, stamed my clake on the Guardians right now. I think they're going to win the World Series. I said that before the game started. So, I got that locked in, but they got the pitching. They got like the starting pitching. They got the bullpen. They've got some exciting players. They've got the one superstar that's going to carry them all the way. So I think they've got a good chance. And they really just a pitcher's duel for the whole time against the Rays. Yeah.
I'm going to stay Mike Lake on the Cleveland Guardians as well. I hope they win the World Series. I think they deserve it. We trashed them so bad starting the season. We made no moves. Eventually extended Jose Ramirez, and they're like, "All right, guys. All right, two random guys on your random podcast. Shut up. Shut up. We're gonna win the World Series now." So I'm all in on the Guardians. I think they honestly have a chance. I honestly like their bullpen is electric, especially at the back end. Karen Checks nails. We all know how good Clase is. That Yankees lineup is not that good. I really think that. Really mean that. Outside of Judge, just walk him. Just walk Judge. And then no one else will hurt you on that lineup. So
yeah.
I mean Stanton maybe, but like who's their next biggest power bat? It's if you consider it Josh Donaldson. I mean, Josh Donaldson was pretty much a net negative hitter this year.
Giancarlo, bro.
Good. Well, I said besides Stanton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like besides Stanton and Judge, their best power hitter is Josh Donaldson, maybe Glaber. Like they just don't. I don't know. I'm not really all in on that roster. We all know Garrett Cole kind of struggles in the playoffs. Their rotation is good, but I think Cleveland's is better. Like top to bottom, I think Cleveland's rotation is better. Bieber's electric. Tristan McKenzie looked really, really good against the Rays. Zach Plezak's great. Like Cal Quantrill's a freak. Like if they ever play at Cleveland, you can't beat Cal Quantrill. I don't think he's lost there in the last 2 years. I don't think he's ever lost there in general, actually. But yeah, I'm all in on Cleveland. I hope they win, and it would be like the biggest slap to the face of major market teams, especially the Yankees. Maybe you never know. Future Cleveland Guardian, Aaron Judge.
Yeah. Did you watch that 15-inning game?
I did, actually. That's one of the playoff games I did get to watch. Oscar Gonzalez hit a walk-off home run. I think he hit it on like the second or third pitch. Like it was a really short at bat, and he nuked it too. It was a long bomb. Yeah, like their lineup might not be excellent, but it'll get the job done more often than not. I think the Rays rotation and the Rays bullpen, they do such a good job there too. I really like Cleveland for the playoffs. They're going to be a dark horse, and they're not an easy out against anyone they play against. Yeah,
and if they keep pitching like this, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat. They've really didn't give up anything at all. And that 15-inning game was crazy. I was pretty busy during that, but it was cool to see it go for that long. And that's crazy. Like I saw a tweet, probably is what it was, that Guardians fans like just love Corey Kluber. He just does everything for him. Not only was he amazing when he was with the team, but then he gave up that walk-off home run to Gonzalez. So he's just always coming in through clutch. And he also got them Class A in the trade with the Rangers. So they've been getting the most out of Kluber even now that he's off the team. But yeah, that walk-offs to send teams to the next round are always so cool. So I really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah. Terry Francona, man, he's just so good.
Hall of Fame for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's great. Technically, Cleveland Guardians never lost a playoff series. So take that as you will. Completely undefeated in the playoffs. You want to move on to the next?
Let's talk about the Mariners and the Blue Jays. Pretty exciting matchup, I thought. Two pretty young teams that don't really have a lot of playoff history in the last 20 years or so. I mean, subtracting, the Jose Bautista Blue Jays from a few years ago. That's basically all we've seen from either of those teams. But I think everybody in the world is rooting for the Mariners. Not only are they a fun team just by themselves, but also, with the history of them not making the postseason since 2001, I think everybody wants to see them succeed. And they're just a really fun team. Both of us, I think, had the Blue Jays winning the World Series preseason. So it would have been cool to see them get further, but that's all right. I think this is a good consolation prize. And I think both of us are in the same boat that we'd love more than anything to see a Mariners Guardians. ALCS would be so cool. The Mariners are somewhat similar to the Guardians in that they have really great starting pitching. They have a lights out bullpen, and they've got pretty good offense that's sort of underrated in many ways. So that'll be interesting to see. But this matchup was pretty crazy. I can't believe in that game 2 that the Blue Jays blew that lead.
Yeah. I definitely had the Blue Jays winning the World Series before the start of the season, and they ended up struggling a lot more than I think both of us thought they would. Obviously still made the playoffs, but we were both kind of overrated, or we underrated the overrated Yankees, which is weird. But it's so tough to bet against the Mariners just because it's the ultimate underdog. I think everyone wants them to do well. I hated that it had to be at the expense of the Blue Jays. But I'm glad the Mariners moved on. And they're just like Cleveland, like you said. I mean, their bullpen is really good. Their rotation is really good. I don't know if you watched the clincher game. Luis Castillo is disgusting. And they locked him up long term. He completely shut down Toronto. And he's virtually unhittable. Their bullpen's crazy good. Their lineup is a lot better than people think. I mean, you look at guys like J-Rod, sure. But they have contributors top to bottom. Adam Frazier, JP Crawford. That's just a good lineup. It's not it's not a star-studded like name-filled one like the Astros, but it's good enough and it'll get the job done. And I think it's really cool talking about this next team too. Mariners, longest record, and I quizzed you last time. And who was the team with the second? Who was the team with the second longest playoff drought, Jake?
Well, I know the answer now. It's the Phillies.
Absolutely. Who made the playoffs, and not only that, they completely destroyed the Cardinals across 2 games. I hated that. I think I hated that, and it's a real shame. I think I sent you the video that was like the sitcom ending, and it was like the players is like no name bum, and it was like Yadier Molina, like Albert Pujols and Adam Wainwright as geriatric bum 1, 2, and 3. I love that. I like completely reveled in that. The Phillies, for me, like we talked about it too. Not on the pod, but I sent you a message and I was like, for me, ideal is like Guardians, Mariners, ALCS, and somehow the Phillies making the World Series. That would be like the ideal outcome out of anything for this entire playoffs for me.
Mm-hmm.
I desperately want the Phillies to make it. That their defense sucks. Like everyone knows it. Defense sucks. That lineup is so good. And they're clutch too. So if they really hit, they're going to be a tough team to beat also. That defense garbage. I don't know like if their pitching could keep up with like the Dodgers, but I don't know. Maybe their lineup gets super, super hot and they're just really hard to keep up with when they get going.
Mm-hmm. I love Bryce Harper. I used to not really like him too much. I think everybody thought he was overrated, and then he became underrated, and then he was really good for my fantasy team last year, and now I like Bryce Harper. It has nothing to do with his religion. That I sort of have to put that in the back of my head to be like, all right, just don't think about that, and then you'll really like him. So he's Mormon.
Is he? That's weird.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He is. He does not seem like a Mormon, but he is, which is fine. Everybody is entitled to their own beliefs and stuff. So nothing against Mormons in general, but yeah. Anyway, back to baseball.
Jake
but
he's
he's really good. That home run he had was crazy. I think that team's fun. I don't know. I want to see somebody else do well. I wanted it to be the Mets. I really like their team this year. Obviously, we'll get to them in just a second that they weren't able to capitalize on their team. But the Phillies are a pretty fun team. They seem to be, I feel like they sort of like slipped in there and they're sort of just like, I don't know, like incredulously playing through stuff. Like when they won the last series against the Cardinals, they sort of seemed like, oh my God, like we did it. And now they're going to go up against, the reigning champions, and it's going to be pretty interesting. I think they're going to get their poop kicked in, but it should be pretty interesting. I think they are like not really built for postseason, considering the state of their bullpen and that kind of stuff. But we'll see. I think they could be a fun team, and they might grow on me as we continue. But as long as the Cardinals go down, they really looked bad, honestly.
Yeah,
because they blew the lead in the first game. They allowed like 6 runs in the 9th, and then in the second game, they was just like they were just playing terrible defense and stuff. They only allowed 2 runs, but like just did not go their way at all.
What a shame. What a shame for the Cardinals. That's awful. I gotta feel for him. I really do. Gotta feel for him. I'm just kidding. I'm so excited. The only one I feel bad for is Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols, okay. I'm tired of Adam Wainwright, and I am looking forward to never having to see Yadier Molina play baseball ever again. I'm tired of that old overrated bum playing catcher for the most overrated franchise in professional baseball. I hate the Cardinals with my entire heart and soul. I hate them. I'm so glad that they lost. I hope they never make the playoffs ever again. I'm tired of seeing all of those bums just constantly get guys from the stands and that work at Costco and Lowe's.
Hey, whoa.
Sorry. Jay, sorry. They work at Sam's Club and Lowe's. Just go out there and hit 280 and hit 20 home runs. I'm tired of the Cardinals. I hope they never make playoffs again. I hope the Phillies win it, and I hope Kyle Schwarber specifically, along with Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper, each hit 12 home runs. this next playoff series.
That'd be
They're
crazy.
like, if I had to pick two teams and draw a line in the sand right now, I would be all in on Cleveland and all in on Phillies, just because of my own personal bias. I don't necessarily think they're like the best teams to get there, but for me, I just love this Phillies team. They've got a lot of guys that just mash. And we can go ahead and move on, so I can get off my soapbox about the Cardinals, because I'll just enjoy that on my own time. What's going to be fun talk about, obviously, is the San Diego Padres outlasting the Mets in 3 games. And I got a cool fun fact, but I'd like to hear you talk about this series a little bit, Jake.
Yeah, this was the only one to go 3 games, so probably the most exciting of the 3, except for the fact that the last game was like not particularly close. The Padres sort of like, it seems like the Padres destroyed the Mets, even though the Mets won one of the games. But when they were on, they were on. I think the most interesting thing to come from this is Trent Grisham, who was what some might say the worst hitter in the major leagues amongst qualified batters during the regular season. Guy had, I think, the lowest qualified batting average for a guy with at least 450 plate appearances. He had like 184, and he came through with 2 home runs, one each against Scherzer and DeGrom. That's pretty crazy. And he also came through with an RBI hit in the 3rd game. So he was really on top of his game. And I think the Padres are going to be pretty dangerous. Like I said, I wish the Mets had gone on, but and I want to see like Tatis on the Padres. I feel like that's like the ultimate playoff if they had like the full strength. So I'm not sure they're going to be able to move on too far, but it was definitely cool to see them come through, especially with the big pitching performance from Musgrove in the final game. That's I don't want to steal your fun fact. Is that what your fun fact is about Musgrove?
Oh, no. Here's
Okay,
my fun
then I have
fact.
one. All right, let me go first.
Absolutely.
Musgrove is the first pitcher in postseason history to go 7+ innings pitch and allow fewer than 2 hits in a winner-take-all game.
Absolutely. Mine also relates a little bit to the Phillies. So now at 36 years, the Mets World Series drought is longer than the Marlins, the Phillies, the Nationals, and the Braves combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so
Braves. That's a weird. I mean, I know it's the NL East, but that's a weird addition.
yeah. Well, gotta include them in there. 0.
0
The Nationals
years.
is 3, Phillies is 13, and the Marlins are at 19. So just quite squeezing it in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, known playoff hero, Trent Grisham. Who would have thought? Obviously, big pantomime villain in Milwaukee several years ago, booting a ball.
Oh
in the
yeah,
outfield and
forgot
losing
about
the
that.
game.
Making up for it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think here it is. I found the graphic. So here's what was cool, because in the Mets playoff series, they gave the ball to Max Scherzer in game 1, and he got destroyed. He gave up 7 runs, and then they gave it to Jacob deGrom. So home runs in consecutive games versus Cy Young winners in MLB postseason history. Trent Grisham is in esteemed company. Only one of 4 hitters that has ever done that.
Wow.
You already know.
The other 3?
Yeah. Let me give you a guess as to who one of them is.
Pablo Sandoval.
Nah, he played for the Giants.
Oh shoot. Okay, well then I was close.
Don't overthink that one, Jake.
Don't overthink it. Buster Posey.
Barry Bonds.
Oh, I don't think of Bonds in the playoffs. Sorry.
Of Greg Maddux and John Smoltz.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair.
So what's crazy about this one is so Trent Grisham obviously hit them off of Scherzer and DeGrom. Daniel Murphy in 2015 hit in the 2015 NLDS hit one off of Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw.
He was going crazy that year.
Barry Bonds and John Olerud both hit them off of John Smoltz and Greg Maddux. So
bums.
John Smoltz Greg Maddux. Total bums in the mud, even. Yeah, Trent Grisham, esteemed company, playoff hero. And I'm thrilled for the Padres. I think it would be the ultimate slap in Fernando Tatis's face if they won without him.
Yeah, maybe then he'd learn his lesson.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I also just really, really want Yu Darvish to get a ring. I love Yu Darvish so much. Same with Mike Clevenger, although I did see not the best idea for Mike Clevenger in their series against the Dodgers. Mike Clevenger is actually going to get the ball for game 1. He has a 9.69 ERA against Los Angeles this year. They've shelled him. So
you know who I'm going to be rooting for?
Oh yeah, I don't think anybody outside of Los Angeles is going to be rooting for the Dodgers this postseason.
Yeah, and even still, a lot of the people down there are going to be rooting for the Padres.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
With that, I mean, I think we can move on to the division series preview, unless you want to dog on the Mets more because their lineup just really let them down.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll just say one thing that I was sort of skeptical of the wild card series, and it actually turned out to be pretty cool. I loved the wild card game where it was just one game, but this was sort of exciting to have just like a mini 3-game series that sort of decided a lot, and it sort of took away from that little bit of feeling you get of just like, oh, it was just one game, like pretty messed up. But you definitely got to see what it's like when you don't have too many off days in the postseason, which is usually the case in the 5 and 7 game series, is that they just give you too many off days and then you can have your pitcher go 4 innings or whatever. This time they actually had to like push guys through the 7th and the 8th inning, which was cool.
Yeah. I hate it for the Mets because they're a team that's really in flux too. There's a strong chance Jacob deGrom could opt out. And then they've got a lot of questions.
I thought he already guaranteed himself into that earlier this season.
I don't think so.
No, I mean, I think he said he was going to.
I wouldn't be surprised if he still does. So, I mean, like, what do they really do?
They're losing a lot of guys. I think I just saw a graphic on Twitter somewhere, and I definitely lost it. But it was like they're losing like 8 different players or something.
I know they're gonna lose like the bench guys they traded for, apart from Darren Ruff, which like is that really like a player that you care about?
Bro, watch it. Watch what you're saying.
You should love Darren Ruff because they just he was part of the, the Mets getting completely fleeced, which is really bad. I don't know. I think they're really not looking hot next year.
Well, they'll make up for it. They got the money. They'll be fine.
Oh yeah, they'll probably get Ohtani. That would be hilarious. I would love that. Maybe they'll keep DeGrom too.
Yeah, let's hope so.
So let's get to this division series preview. Enough Mets. They're not in this. So you want to kick it off with Phillies and Braves?
Sure. That's an exciting division matchup. Actually, 75% of the division series matchups are interdivision rivals. So that should be pretty interesting, I think. Phillies Braves is the first one. We'll see. Like I said, I'm not sure the Phillies are too built for the postseason, and the Braves are the reigning champs, and they're just such a strong team all around that it's going to be pretty hard. We'll see how the Phillies do. I don't really think they're going to do too great, but I mean, I think for this segment, I think we should do a prediction of who we think who we think's gonna win and who might be the standout player from the series.
I'm down for that.
Okay. Well, I'll go the Braves, and I think the standout player, I think Ronald's about to have just a crazy postseason because he had such a down year during the season. I know he's still dealing with injury, but I mean, he thrives on the big stage. So I'm going Ronald Acuna Jr. as the standout guy from this series.
I'm also going to go Braves. I think the Braves are going to win that series. I would sure love the Phillies to make it. I like the Braves too. I sure would love the Phillies to make it. If I had to pick a standout player, I'm honestly going to say Dansby Swanson. I think Dansby Swanson's going to be having a crazy series here. And if it's not Dansby Swanson, I think that Kyle Schwarber is going to hit like 2-3 bombs and then the Phillies will lose. But yeah, I think this is probably the worst matchup the Phillies could have gotten. That's not the Dodgers. Yeah, I honestly would have maybe liked them more against the Dodgers just because of the more unknown factor. But I mean, like, this Braves team is so crazy. Maybe dark horse player. I think that could be really good in there. Spencer Strider.
Is knee injured?
Get him in there. One leg.
Okay. That's the dark horse nature, is that
Yeah.
he's got an oblique injury, so we'll see. I think that's
him in there.
definitely a big wild card because the Braves definitely don't have the deepest starting pitching. I wouldn't say they have good starting pitching. Like Morton and Fried are definitely going to get in there, but I think without Strider, I'm definitely forgetting people, so I'm gonna pull it up. But I feel like they're definitely not as deep as you would think in the rotation. I'm forgetting somebody for sure, and I'm gonna be like, oh wait, oh yeah, okay, I am an idiot. They have Kyle Wright. They should be fine in 3 games. I think Charlie Morton hasn't been incredible all season. He's been pretty all right. So they have enough guys to win 3 games, but after that, it's like Bryce Elder and Jake Odorizzi. So we'll see what they can do. They obviously have a deep bullpen and a crazy lineup, so they may not need Strider at all. But I would love to see him get in there if they move on.
There's a chance that he should be able to make it back. Have you seen the pictures of him with the celebrations anyway?
No.
Well, he's got a Coors Light box on his head like a mask, wearing a hat over the top of it.
The boy.
Yeah. Braves in 4 in the World Series, no matter what now.
All right.
So, yeah, I think it'll be the Braves in that series. They're just too good. Let's move on. Padres, Dodgers.
Yeah. So whoever wins that Phillies Braves series will take on the winner of this series versus a couple interdivision rivals, Padres Dodgers. This has been one of the growing rivalries, I think, in baseball. Is the Padres Dodgers, just because they play each other a lot. And a couple of years ago, they were sort of seen as like the 2 big teams because both teams were adding just a ton of talent, and they keep doing that. I think it would be a really more exciting, obviously, if Tatis was there because the Padres would be at full strength. But it is what it is. I think everybody knows who I'm rooting for. I just want whoever is facing the Dodgers to win. So my prediction is that the Padres move on, and just because I literally am not allowed to pick the Dodgers, so Dodgers will probably win. But I'm going to be rooting very hard for the Padres, even though they're sort of somewhat rivals of the Giants. But they're a pretty fun team. It's hard to see them beating the Dodgers just because they're so well built and stuff. But I'll be rooting for them either way.
So who's your standout player for this series?
Oh yeah. Who on the Padres? Oh, you can't choose Trent Grisham again, can you? I'm gonna say it's just no. I'm gonna need to pull up the roster so I can make sure I'm not forgetting somebody that I think is going to be really good. You know what? I like my boy Ha-Seong Kim. He's going to come. He's going to hit a home run. He's an exciting player. He's been pretty silent all season, was better than last year. And I think, the Dodgers are going to underestimate him. He's batting lower in the lineup, and he's going to pop at least a couple home runs and really get his name out there a little bit and push the Padres through to the championship series.
Yeah, I'm going to be with you, and I think I'm going to pick the Padres just for the sake of being different. They've got the it factor, man. And as much as I would like to choose Manny Machado, the boy, I love Manny Machado so much, despite his stupid political opinions. I'm going to go with a duo pair, and I'm going to cheat for breakout. For standout player of the series, and it's going to be former Texas Ranger duo Jurickson Profar and Yu Darvish. Profar had a good series against the Mets, and he has been really good in the last half of the season for the Padres. And he just kind of strikes me as remember, you always know that you very unfortunately always know how the Dodgers do it with guys like Chris Taylor that just pop off in playoffs. It's like Chris Taylor. And I know those guys are good. Jurickson Profar, he's going to be that for the Padres this playoff run. And I think if they're going to make a deep run, it's going to be guys that are not Manny Machado and not Juan Soto really carrying the freight, kind of like Trent Grisham, kind of like, a Will Myers, and kind of like Jurickson Profar. And Yu Darvish, I mean, he was one of the best pitchers in the second half of the season. He shut out, he completely dominated the Mets in his one start against them. I think he went 7 innings pitched and give up a run. Let me find that again. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he went 7 innings pitched. He gave up 1 run, 4 strikeouts, 6 hits, and he just completely really trashed him. He had 26 quality starts this season, and he's gone through 6+ innings in 24 straight appearances. I can't bat against bad news. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Still love that guy. I hope he pours it on, and I hope Mike Clevenger and the rest of that rotation can just keep it going. I'm gonna go Padres.
Good call. Good call. Well, let's move it over to the AL, where the Mariners are taking on the Astros. I think this one's somewhat similar to the Padres and Dodgers, except I think, we probably both like the Mariners more than we like the Padres, but I think the Astros are somewhat hated league wide, and they've had a lot of success in recent past. So I don't think anybody's like, oh yeah, I would love to see the Astros win again. My brother was telling me like at the beginning of the postseason, he's like, I think it's going to be Braves versus Astros. I'm like, bro, that was literally the World Series last year. What are you talking about? That would be awful. So I would love the Astros to get knocked out right now, and mostly because I want to see the Mariners win. So I'm going with the Mariners. And you know what? I would love Julio, obviously, to be the big guy there, but I would love even more to see Jared Kelenic finally break out and just have like a crazy series, and then going into next year everyone gives him a bunch of high expectations and then he sucks again. No, but I think it would be cool if he finally had some success for a team that he's somewhat disappointed, a fan base he's somewhat disappointed over the last couple of years. So I would love some good things to happen for Jared Kelenic, and then what would come with that is that the Mariners would win. So I'm going Mariners and Kelenic.
Yeah, heart says Mariners, head says Astros.
Exactly.
So I mean, just for the sake of being different and us not saying all the same things. I think I'm going to go Astros with this series. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I obviously want the Mariners to win, but I think the Astros will win just because of the inexperience of the Mariners and just how good the Astros are. They were very quietly, which is weird. They were the best team in the AL. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. As far as like standout player goes, I don't really know. I think I need to look at their roster again. I immediately wanted to be like Bregman, but he kind of sucks now. So like,
I don't know. He was pretty good in the second half.
He was, but he's not like juice ball Bregman, and that's
you got to go Trey Mancini. That he's the GOAT.
So like that sucks because if they win, like Trey would get a ring. I hate that. Let's go Framber. Standout player series. Framber Valdez.
All right. Yeah. The quality start queen.
Yeah. Queen Framber. So let's go Framber Valdez.
All right. Good call.
Guardians, Yankees.
That's going to be a fun one. I think Guardians, Yankees, because I think the Yankees fans are going to make it really interesting because they're just going to cry as the Guardians rip out the souls of the Yankees. No, I'm joking. But yeah, like we talked about earlier, I think the Yankees are a sort of incomplete team. They have some good starters with flaws. I think Nestor's obviously going to be pretty solid. And then the rest of the team is sort of question mark. We haven't seen a lot of Luis Severino in the second half. He was injured. Nobody likes Domingo Germán. Jamison Tyone is sort of pretty meh. And then Garrett Cole is like, he's a very, very good pitcher, but he's become somewhat of a coin flip where he just struggles with home runs. So if you get, and he struggles in the first inning too, first inning and home runs. So if you get like a grand slam on him in the first inning, like he might not give up any more runs after that, but he's not untouchable, right? So that like he's a guy you can get to. And like we talked about, that lineup is not too great. It's basically like Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton. And then the rest of it is just like sort of cobbled together. And it depends, like obviously some of these guys can get hot, Torres and Donaldson and stuff, that those guys can get hot, but then a lot of it is just like, I don't know, like DJ LeMahieu's going to play too, but then there's just like some random dudes, like you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, Harrison Bader, sure, he's going to be incredible. So I don't know. I think we're both rooting for the Guardians, and I think we both believe that they can win, and it's going to be pretty exciting. was this the place where Stephen Kwan ran into the wall and then Miles Straw showed that he had that dog in him? Yes. All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, we're back at it. All right. Yeah, they're gonna be so fired up. I don't know if anybody like forgot, but if you did, like Stephen Kwan pretty early in the season ran into the left field wall and Yankees fans were sort of cheering, and Miles Straw was pretty pissed about it and like jumped up on the wall and was like mouthing off to some fans. And then didn't they start throwing bottles at them too?
Yeah, they threw a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff at Miles Straw
All
and
right.
Stephen Kwan.
This is gonna be a great series, you know. And my standout player, it's Jose Ramirez is the easy choice. I think he's gonna be great. He's just so good. He always comes through in the clutch. It doesn't matter when or where, he will always come through. And like I want Stephen Kwan to show him who's boss, but you know, Josh Naylor, I want him to, just so that he does something crazy, like headbutts Terry Francona. You know, he just gets so pumped. He did that before. That's not even a joke.
I know.
He's just like, he's
I
so
know.
crazy. And I would just love to see him just hit a big home run or something and just like show his emotion, because he's a really exciting player when he is going well.
Absolutely. So like on the inverse of the Astros series, where it's like head says Astros, heart says Mariners, head says Guardians, heart says Guardians. I honestly think this team is really good. Like, I mean, they went 92-70 for a reason. I really think this team is great. Their pitching rotation is just so good, and that Yankees lineup is so hit or miss outside of Judge and Stanton, and like Rizzo. Really, like, I mean, Rizzo's just not what he used to be. He's still solid, but he's not the same bad he used to be, as much as that pains me to say.
Mhm.
You know, I'm gonna go Guardians, and I mentioned him earlier, and I really think he's getting the ball in game one. Cal Quantrill is so good, and he never gets talked about, and I really hate that. But I love that for Cleveland, because he's just another unsung guy that, you know, it's like they ship out one guy, ship out Kluber, and they just like, oh, we got Bieber. Ship out more guys like No Carrasco, got Cal Quantrill, and he was a throw-in in the he was a throw-in young big leaguer in the Mike Clevenger trade, and he is nails. He's so good. Didn't lose a single home start this year. He's 15-5. He's excellent. And if it's not Cal Quantrill, God, if I wouldn't love it for it to be Miles Straw. If Miles Straw came out and he had the series of his life against the Yankees, that would be so dope. He didn't hit a single home run this year. I would love nothing more for his first home run of the season, maybe even first 2 or 3. I hope he just goes off, power surge in the playoffs, kind of like Trent Grisham, and he hits 3 bombs against the Yankees after none in the regular season, and just like runs around the bases with one of these. Like it's a soccer celebration. Oh my God. I would lose my mind.
That would be crazy.
But yeah, I'm bandwagoning the Guardians like this playoffs. I'm all in on Cleveland.
Yeah.
I hope they win so bad.
I'm so glad they changed their name.
Oh yeah. Still should have been the Spiders, but you know.
Anything's better than racism.
Yeah, Guardians still pretty good. Haven't lost a playoff series. I heard a wise man say that once.
Yeah, better than the Yankees. They lose all the time.
Absolutely. Couple more brief little news points to go over. The big one, talked about him earlier, might make a return to NLDS. Spencer Strider signed a big extension. Run down the numbers, Jake.
Sure. The Braves did it again. What I said when you sent this to me, I said they can't keep getting away with this. The Braves just keep extending everybody. It doesn't like, I don't know, they're going to extend Blooper like next week or something. Yeah. So Spencer Strider, young starting pitcher for the Braves, probably going to finish top 2 in NL Rookie of the Year award voting, signed a 6-year, $75 million guaranteed extension where he will earn $1 million in the first 2 years, which is 23 and 24. In 2025, he'll earn $4 million. He'll get $20 million in 2026 and then $22 million a year in the final 2 years of the deal in 2027 and 2028. And it also comes with a club option in 2029 where he could earn $22 million as well as a $5 million buyout if they choose to not go with it. So this buys out, I think, 1 year of free agency and possibly 2 if they exercise the club option, which at this rate, I don't see why not. He's the fastest pitcher to 200 strikeouts in a single season, not even in his career, just in a single season. He hit 200 strikeouts in 130 innings. And I'm pretty sure that broke Randy Johnson's record. So he's really good. He had a 16 strikeout game not more than a month ago. So he's really an up and coming guy. Like I said, he's going to finish top 2 in Rookie of the Year. And he was just so good this year. And he's got big quads and a sick mustache. And the Braves are just, geniuses.
Yeah. Like you said, they can't keep getting away with this. There's no team in baseball right now that's as good as locking up their young core pieces as the Braves. And I love that for them. It's a team that's like all their talent really, apart from like Matt Olson, has been homegrown, and they're keeping them, which is just great. Mm-hmm. I think baseball's better when big market teams like that, like the Braves are good. And it's a far cry from when they're like trotting out like a 70-year-old like Bartolo Colon and R.A. Dickey a few years ago just to do absolutely nothing. So congratulations to the Braves, and congratulations to Spencer Strider getting the bag.
Yeah.
Still setting him up basically for life. Awesome. I really, really love that for Spencer Strider. Hopefully he can come back and make an impact in the playoff series just because he's really exciting to watch on the mound.
Definitely. Do you want to hear the list of guys they've got locked up now?
Yeah.
All right. So they got Kyle Wright, who broke out this year, 21-game winner. He's locked up through 2026. They've got William Contreras, the younger brother of Wilson, locked up through 2027. They've got all-star Ozzie Albies locked up through 2027 as well. They've got rookie Vaughn Grissom locked up through 2028. They've got superstar Ronald Acuna Jr. locked up through 2028. They've got Spencer Strider, who we just talked about, locked up through 2029. They've got the recently acquired Matt Olson locked up through 2030. They've got the other NL Rookie of the Year frontrunner, Michael Harris II, locked up through 2032. And they've got, maybe the best player on their team this season for sure, Austin Riley, locked up through 2033. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys all locked up, and all of them either have a lot of potential, have been all-stars in the past, or are just like really solid. And that's more like the Wright and Contreras area. But yeah, congrats to the Braves and the fans of that team. You never know with these extensions, especially with the young guys like Strider and Harris and Grissom, how those are going to work out. But you locking a guy in at a rate, how much money you're going to have left to pay for the rest of the year or like in future seasons. So and honestly, like they deserve, or Anthopoulos deserves a round of applause. He's been really killing it up there, locking up all those guys. And, I think every team wishes that their GM would lock up their favorite players. Right. The Giants sort of did that after all their World Series, and it didn't really pay off. Locking up like Belt and Crawford and all those guys because they sort of had to wait for all that money to run out. But, it was cool to have fan favorites around for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just different this time because it's so much high-quality young talent.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like it's cool, too, because a lot of teams fall into that same trap. And I think like the Royals, in a way, sort of did it, too, where it's like you give your guys big extensions and you reward them handsomely, which is good, and sometimes that is the right move, but they're building a team that's set to compete for the next 10 years, which is excellent. It's good for baseball, good for Atlanta, because God knows the rest of their sports teams, the Hawks are all right, but their football team is sort of a mess, even though their offense is good this year. But I digress. Braves.
You got any other notes? I don't even know what's going on in baseball.
No. Just excited to watch some playoff baseball and excited to see some new faces like in the mix. It's a different Padres team, and like obviously playoff Juan Soto is exciting. The Mariners being there is just so cool, and Cleveland, it's just great. It feels like a different playoffs this time. There are the favorites, and everyone's rooting against them, and rightfully so, because no one wants to see nobody on earth wants to see Dodgers Astros World Series. Nobody wants to see.
Definitely not. No, thank you. We do not need that rematch. But I just love playoff baseball. I feel like it's different than regular baseball. I think it's like very super intense. It's really exciting, and like I don't really care how slow it is. And I love that, you know, you miss a game in this series, there's still like 4 more. So you're always locked into at least seeing one of the games in the series. And I think, as everybody knows, if they've been watching the podcast, that I've been fell behind on baseball in August and September. But, you know, I'm just like, all right, like this is literally the perfect time to be like, all right, let's get, oh my God, let's get back into watching some real baseball games, which, like I said, I did at work. So I'm really excited to watch some division series games tomorrow while I'm trying to get work done. Let's hope I don't get in trouble. Davis, can you even watch games while you're teaching children?
No. I do have my lunch break.
Well, you can be like, all right, we're gonna learn some history about America, and we're gonna watch baseball.
Yeah, I actually have. I've been putting stuff because it was Latin American Heritage Month, I think, or Hispanic Heritage Month. That's what it was. So I've got a bunch of stuff in my room of like Roberto Clemente and other. I love Roberto and other Trailblazers. So it's cool. I've talked to them a little bit about it. I've got a couple kids that like baseball. I'll find a way. I'll keep up.
You gotta force them. They have to learn at some point that baseball is the best sport.
Baseball is the best sport because it mirrors America. Baseball is America, and if you don't like baseball, you don't like America. Everyone needs to remember that. Important fact: don't like baseball, don't like America. And on that note, got a closer this week, Jake, or is it another playoff blowout?
Yeah, no, I think we talked beforehand that we're gonna need to get more consistent, so I have more time to do this. But yeah, I had maybe like 30-45 minutes after I got home from work to mock up the rundown, so didn't get to a closer, but we'll get there. The podcast is slowly rolling back into form now that we're past 30 episodes, very close to 2,000 episodes. So just you wait, everyone. We'll be around for years to come. You'll get enough closers.
Absolutely. So on that note, let's plug some stuff.
Yes.
Obviously, my name is Davis Bird. My Twitter handle is on the screen at DVSBird. You can follow Jake Crumpler also on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. See, simple enough. Jake Crumpler on Twitter, right there in the middle. He makes great baseball content. Also for Baseball HQ and for Pitcher List. Just did the last reliever ranks of the season, so make sure you go read reliever ranks. Are you going to be on their podcast anytime soon, Jake?
Yeah, we've been sort of falling off on the podcast there too, so I got to reach back out to those guys and see what we're going to do during the off season. But, you know, I hope we're fired back up because we got a lot of stuff to talk about in the off season about bullpens and stuff. But I mean, now that I'm getting settled into like my new life, living in this baseball room and working a real adult job, I'm just starting to schedule out everything so that I can work around writing and podcasting and stuff. So you'll definitely see me more active in November and stuff once I'm like completely settled in. So yeah, stay on the lookout. Follow me on Twitter. Go to crumplerbaseball.com, which hasn't been updated in a while. I need to get to that. But yeah, so I'll have a lot of stuff out. And, you know, if you had been reading reliever ranks, those had been coming out consistently. I think I wrote, how many of those did I write this year? I wrote a lot of them. I wrote like 75, more like 50, but I wrote a lot of reliever ranks.
Yeah, but make sure you read all of Jake's stuff whenever he posts it. He just makes good baseball stuff. And if you're watching us, you obviously love baseball. So if you want more baseball, read Jake's stuff. Also, please check out our parent site is theathletesub.org.
Football content's going crazy right now.
Yeah, they sponsor us. You can check out me sometimes. I do the Pick'em with site founder Devin Withers, one of our writers Ray Ashworth, and another one of our writers Jacob Rodriguez. I think I said that right. So you can check us out there. just read all the stuff on the Athlete Sub. We've got a lot of stuff for football, got a lot of stuff for wrestling, every other sport you could imagine. Make sure you read all of Jonathan Fearby's really cool World Cup stuff. He's running down all the World Cups since the inception, and it's getting close to the modern ones. I think the last one was Italia 90, which was a really good one. So just read all the stuff on the site and come back and watch us the next time we do this, which is hopefully going to be next week. We're going to try to get back to a normal schedule. On that note, I think since it's almost 11 o'clock, I think it's time that we end the extra innings of this podcast. Say goodbye.
Peace.